Night of the Living Dead. Can you give me a synopsis of Night?
Night of the Living Dead is the story of a practical black man who stumbles into a house full of dumb white people, um, and in the end realizes that one of them had a really good idea, but by then it's too late.
Your synopsises are better than mine. I um my my favorite part of Night, right? Like there's Night for me is not my favorite of the Romero films, but it's the most important. It's kind of like how A New Hope isn't my favorite Star Wars, but culturally speaking, as an American, it's the most important piece of fiction in the series. And I
It's
think my
probably the one I've watched the most. I mean, again, because it's public domain, so it's everywhere.
yeah, like I could just find it on YouTube. Um, and my favorite sort of element of Night, and this is speaking as to the sort of content creator, the storyteller in me, how it's almost like a stage play at the end of the world. How the TV and the radio are used to great effect and kind of give us like a background of like what's happening as they board up, you know, the house, the practical black guy named Ben. Um, and who was your favorite character?
Ben, holy shit. No contest.
Let's be about that.
What's interesting about this movie, especially Romero's, status as like the satirical zombie creator,
Yeah.
and how everything was like, it was social horror, and he was commenting on the times, and at least with Night of the Living Dead, he's 100% just the rest of his life said, no, this was just me wanting to make a cheapy horror movie.
Yeah.
Like Dwayne Jones, who played Ben, was just the best actor who auditioned for the role,
Yeah.
which I 100% believe because Dwayne Jones is the only good actor in this cast.
Yeah, and it was originally written for a Caucasian fella who was
um,
supposed to be kind of like rough and tumble, but then Dwayne Jones took the part and he kind of made it his own and brought all of his like intelligence and depth to the role.
it's like, oh, you're the only person who's ever had any acting lessons. Everyone else is again. I mean, Romero is a great idea creator. I'm not sure if he
Yeah.
was necessarily great directing actors. Like the best acting in all of the franchise is always with like kind of the established actors.
Yeah.
Um, and then you could tell like a lot of it was like uh, the Pittsburgh community theater players.
Yeah.
And not knocking the Pittsburgh community players. I don't need them coming after me.
They are mighty.
But I mean, Ben is such a great character because I mean, it's just he's so like which actually is interesting because the thing is he's so to the point. He's like, this is how we're gonna survive. This is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna need you guys to stop screaming. Just listen to me, and we'll survive the night.
Yeah.
But as you pointed out in the summary, he didn't have the best idea. Like the thing is, and in the end, he's like, when he was down in that basement for hours, he was thinking, we could have saved ourselves a lot of everything if we just come down here and if I just listened. Oops.
Because my favorite character is, I mean, outside of Ben, of course, because Ben wants to stay on the main floor because he thinks, oh, there's all these routes for egress, and we can get out this way. And he actually makes a break for it at one point with a couple of kids, but the kids burn to death in the truck, and then he doesn't get past the fuel point, so he has to run back into the house. My favorite character outside of him was Mr. Cooper. And Mr. Cooper is what you call an unsuccessful marriage. His wife and his kid are downstairs in the basement, and his wife clearly fucking hates this guy because he sucks. And like he's one of those guys who just like has to be right about everything. He's the worst person ever who's really correct in this spot where he's like, "Hey, let's board up the basement and just ride this motherfucker out down here." And everyone's like, no, we got to stay up here where the TV is. He's like, yeah, but that's where the zombies are. And to his credit, he was right. However, when Ben made a break for it, Cooper was like going to shoot him. He was going to keep him out of the house. And then Ben just kind of like beats some courage into the coward Mr. Cooper.
All
But
right. I think we can agree that the absolute worst character in this movie is Barbara.
oh my God.
Oh, the worst.
Oh my
Um, you can tell that George Romero felt bad because he made nothing but like strong female characters after this. But
oh yeah.
Barbara's whole character arc is Johnny, Johnny.
I the editor in me, because I edit books sometimes. The editor in me is like, oh, you could have cut Barbara.
She is. The thing is, it's a shame because when she's our introductory character.
Yeah. Ben
And
should have been I mean, it was the 60s, so you can't have a black guy be the complete. You have to,
get a white woman.
yeah, you gotta have like the white brother and sister duo, like you gotta like spoon feed the people the
Well,
diversity.
what pissed me off is in that first scene, like she's a capable character.
Yeah.
Like she gets out of that situation so easily. She makes it to the farm
Yeah.
and then just loses her mind for the rest of the movie and just babbles.
I had a similar response with the Stepford Wives, the original one from the 70s, where they keep getting replaced. And then she's like trying to figure out where her kids are. And then at the end, she meets the final boss, right? At the end of Stepford Wives. And then she just screams and dies.
Okay, actually, not trying to make this a Stepford Wives podcast, but I just read that book when the
Hit me.
electricity went out here.
Hit me.
It was like I felt very old fashioned reading by candlelight. But the thing is, you are so right about
Yeah.
that character because in the book, she is defined by her intelligence and her observational skills about everything going on. But in the last chapter that she's in, she becomes the dumbest character in horror history. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what happened to you? You
She
would
took a
never.
stupid pill.
Yeah, it was like it's like okay, is this like oh she's womanly hysteric. She can't think straight. Like okay, but for the previous 120 pages, she's been the smartest character in this story. Like oh God, like the thing is like you could tell at one point like Romero was like Barbara's a great character. But we've got Ben now, so we don't need, Barbara to have any function in the story other than to be a drag on everybody,
Yeah. Yeah. But they gave us the immortal line, "They're coming to get you, Barbara."
which was from Johnny. Once again, we can't even give that to a woman.
That's true. But did I send you the song called "They're Coming to Get You, Barbara" by No More Kings, where they just kind of like strum and play? I mean, have you listened to this?
I must.
I'm going to send it to you now.
It'll be the outro for this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of more thoughts because I'm with you on that. Like, I love Night of the Living Dead. It is absolutely essential. It created the blueprint for the zombie movies. I mean, zombie franchise, like zombie subgenre existed, but this was like this is how you do it. However, in a weird way, I think the budget limitations, the fact that they probably made this movie in like a month,
Yeah.
it
Actually,
does.
no, they made it longer than a month
What?
because, yeah. Well, okay. So I've got some. Well, first of all, to go back to your point on the cementing of the genre, um, zombies brought by aliens is throughout the entire. It is one of those key essential zombie elements now, right? Like it's because during the exposition as Ben is boarding up, the house and Barbara's comatose, you hear on the radio, you see on the TV, they're like, "Yeah, we shot down this satellite that passed by Venus, and now the dead rise. So we guess it was aliens?" Question mark.
All right, throwing this out there. Do you think Night of the Living Dead was inspired by Plan 9 from Outer Space?
Oh, absolutely.
Plan 9 from Outer Space walked so Night of the Living Dead could run, or at least
E-
shuffle quickly.
exactly. And
Ed Wood is smiling from heaven right now. He's just so happy.
absolutely. And like with The Walking Dead, not an official canon, but Robert Kirkman, when he originally pitched it, said it was a space spore, right? It was some sort of like space spore came in and then zombies, right? In this little book called The Thin Line of Life that came out a couple years ago, aliens actually bring the zombie virus and then have this moon base. And then at the end of it, spoiler alert, Marines storm the alien moon base to kill all the aliens and the zombies up there, as American Marines are wont to do. But um to go into the production of Night of the Living Dead, he took inspiration from Richard Matheson's 1954 novel I Am Legend. Principal photography ran between July of 67 and January of 1968. So it was kind of a long shoot. And they had a
I'm surprised to hear that because, well, you had a great point earlier about it feels almost like a stage play.
yeah,
I'm wondering, especially since it's free,
yeah,
high schools across the world, you could do this. It's free.
yeah,
If anyone's ever done that, because all you need is just like the living room essentially.
yeah.
I don't know how you do, man. We talk about stupid characters. Those fucking kids in the truck. It's like the gas tank is locked. We should shoot it. You have torches all around you. What is wrong with you?
Should I bite the zombie if he bites me first?
Oh my goodness. It's just like Darwin Award winners all. I would love to get the commentary track from Ben just throughout. Like, what, no, no. Oh my God. Why? Of all the farms in Pittsburgh, I picked this one.
They they couldn't secure a proper set, so they rented this condemned farmhouse that they could just destroy while they were filming. And they raised a budget of about $100,000, which is in modern dollars over 900,000. It grosses $12 million domestically, $18 million internationally, and earns 250 times its initial budget, making it one of the most profitable movies of all time. And to wrap up Night, during post production, they're having trouble finding people to distribute the movie because of its graphic content. But then they found a distributor, but they had to change the name from Night of the Flesh Eaters to Night of the Living Dead. And while changing the title, the copyright notice was deleted and it went straight into public domain.
All right. I have a question for you.
What you
Do
got?
you think this movie is going to have the lasting legacy that it did with the original title? Because I think Night of the Living Dead has this poetry to it.
Oh,
Night
yeah.
of the Flesh Eaters sounds like exploitation.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a fun, yeah. Night of the Flesh Eaters sounds like something you would like find on HBO at 2 a.m. in around 1998.
Whereas again, this like Night of the Living Dead sounds like a poem.
Yeah, I like that. Do you have any other thoughts about Night of the Living Dead?
Um, watch it if you haven't. I mean, I don't think there's anyone on earth who hasn't seen it, but just a darn fun movie. Obviously it accidentally struck a chord by like, I've read so many think pieces about how the fact that it's on grainy black and white is meant to replicate TV, and it was set during the Vietnam War. So like, the violence, it was like it's like, oh, this is what it would actually look like on TV if the zombies attacked, and it's the commentating on the Vietnam War and the civil rights movement. And meanwhile, George Romero's kind of like, LOL, no. It was called Night of the Flesh Eaters. We wanted to make money. We did.
And boy, did he.